Hey, day 9 of the 10% Happier cross-country magical misery tour, and we are in Tempe, Arizona. I just learned how to pronounce that correctly last night. I've been calling it Tempe, but it's Tempe. Raj tells me. Yeah. All right. So Tempe, Arizona, with, as you can tell, some members of the police department. And no, we're not in trouble yet. Although we were in the back of the cop car last night, and thus nobody put the cuffs on us. This is Jeff Warren, who's one of my favorite meditation teachers on planet Earth, and we've been going across the country in a ridiculous bus, talking to people about people who are interested in meditation, but they're not yet doing it, or maybe they're just at the beginning, and we're exploring like what are the obstacles that keep you from doing this thing, and or mess up your practice. So we've been having a good time. We've gone from New York to Boston to Nashville, New Orleans, Texas, and now here we are in Arizona. So thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate it. So I'll just tell you a little bit of background about who we are, and then we'll open it up to you guys, because that's really what we want to do, is hear from you guys. I work at ABC News. I'm one of the co-anchors of Good Morning America on the weekends, and then during the week I am one of the co-anchors of a little show we do called Nightline. And a couple of years ago I wrote a book called 10% Happier, which was kind of a skeptical, snarky take on meditation. I got into meditation because I had a panic attack on television in 2004, which was embarrassing, and it kind of led me in a weird and windy way to meditation, which made a real difference for me. But I'm not of the view that it changes like everything in your life. It's not magic. That's why I called the thing 10% Happier. And after the book came out in the last couple of years, I've noticed that meditation is less embarrassing than it used to be. It's more socially acceptable, so you can admit to people that you do it. But what's interesting to me is that people aren't actually doing it. Many people who want to do it aren't actually doing it. So I started this company with those characters over there that teaches people how to meditate on an app. It's called 10% Happier. And then we teamed up with this guy to get the bus that I talked about before and go across country and just kind of meet people, talk to them, and see what's up. You want to add anything to that?
No, just that my passion is teaching meditation and trying to help different people connect the dots between their lives and how this practice might be of benefit. And it's amazing how widely applicable it can be, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's applicable always in every situation, in every nervous system. It's kind of that's what the adventure is, kind of exploring this part. So
yeah. So I guess we want to hear from you guys. One of the things that Sergeant Johnson said to us last night when we did a ride along with him was that there is a little concern that if you meditate, that your fellow officers might make fun of you a little bit, and maybe there's some worry that you'd lose your edge a little bit. That this is a job where you do need to be tough. You need to be on your game, and sitting and cross-legged and floating off into the cosmos might not actually help you do that. So I'd love to hear if anybody agrees with that or has any feelings along those lines.
I think he's right with how close this need to be.
Doesn't have to be that close. That's
my name's Rich Monteaton, sergeant with the training unit, and partly what he's saying is right. There's a stigma involved with it that people see you're doing it and the toughness side of it, but it really doesn't take anything away from what we actually do because we do it every single day. Some of the stuff we learn in the academy is combat breathing. Just those deep breaths and getting yourself set. So when you go to one of those calls that you were talking about last night, we call them a hot tone call.
Hot tone?
Hot tone. The beep comes on, everybody gets in this, all right, I'm going, and adrenaline starts flowing. But on the way to that drive, what are you doing to get yourself prepared for that? We're doing it, and they don't know they're doing it. Same thing we talk about officers that if you hunt. You guys hunt?
I don't, sir.
If you hunt, what is some of the stuff that you do when you're hunting? Do you walk around tramping all over the place, or are you kind of mindful about some of the things that you're doing? So you're still doing it inadvertently. You're being quiet. You're doing a bunch of stuff. That comes down with our tactics, too. So these guys are working on SWAT, and I worked with SWAT 12 years with Sergeant Johnson. We're mindful about some stuff. You're almost at a peace or at a calm, and it isn't meditating per se with the legs crossed. We went to the Bend, Oregon, and I sat in a chair the entire time, but meditated from a chair. So the stigma is part of it, and that's a big push, is everybody thinks you're going to lose some sort of edge. You're going to be like, oh, I'm going to lose my edge, but I also equate it back to if you have a child. If you have a child, can you still be soft with your child? And I still come to this job, and I'm still as aware and as stern as I really need to be in this job. So I put it to that also. I'm not at home with my kids, and I'm just 100%. I have to be mindful about how I am with my child, and I'm still soft. And Raj the same way. You got 2 kids. same exact way. Kids, same
Yeah.
exact way. Yet we still come to this job. So I put it that way: is if you're going to do it with your kids, why can't you do it here with all just the normal people we normally talk with?
You're
so
like
that's my push for that.
You're like the perfect. He's like the perfect poster child because you're definitely a badass and you meditate, which I love. Does anybody else have feelings on this? You know that I don't know if there are any people who are kind of on the newer end to meditation who maybe feel a little bit like what Raj was saying last night about that. There's some concern that this is a job where you do need to be on point, and meditation might erode that a little bit.
I can talk about the culture.
Sure.
So I think what we're doing, especially as a department, we're breaking those boundaries thanks to the command staff. And at the academy, we started meditation with recruits and kind of break that stigma that Sergeant was talking about.
So you do it with the recruits?
We do.
Really? Wow.
At the academy.
Cool.
We started about maybe 3 years ago when I was out there.
And how does that go down when these guys and women sign up to become police officers, and when you say, okay, we're going to meditate, how does that
Right.
go down?
Well, everybody kind of like sees it as a negative aspect of the culture of policing, especially if they were in the military, because they think it's, well, we'd rather go run or rather lift weights. But in the long run, you get them ready, like a mental action plan. We talk about them, combat breathing and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that all kind of, it's like a full circle. Because ultimately, when you go under stress, you're going to need that.
Yeah.
Up here, not so much this. So, and it goes well. But in the beginning, it was kind of weird because people are like, we're just sitting here for an hour? Yes, we brought in people who, coaches, and they did meditation, started off through yoga. Did you guys do yoga as well, sir?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's kind of crazy at first, but it was awesome because everybody was very receptive to it. And it's kind of like the new policing, community policing. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anybody have a more skeptical take?
I'll talk a little bit.
Okay.
I think too, it's important, especially in the police culture, for us to, for the line level officer out there, when we start talking about meditation, they have that skepticism. I don't want to sit down, cross-legged, close my eyes. That's not what I'm here to do. And I think it's important for us as we're bringing this to the department to help them understand the difference between a practiced meditation and then just being mindful and being aware, which is what Sergeant Montine, Officer Jimenez was talking about. In firearms training, we talk a lot about BLT, which is breathe, listen, think. Did you guys talk about that last night?
We got schooled.
So, so there's examples of this that we're already doing. You know, just being present. When Sergeant Montine and I went away to that meditation retreat, there was an emphasis on, and it sounds, I mean, that's the skepticism. It sounds a little corny, but taking in that breath and just feeling the breath, the warmth through your nose. How is the breath feeling? And just being present in that call that you're about to go on, or as you're about to open the door and go contact somebody, and not worry about, you know, what bills do I need to pay? How are my kids doing at school? The fight that I just had with my spouse, not me personally, but you know, hypothetically.
His spouse is
speaking.
amazing, just so you know.
Absolutely, she'll tell you that. And so I think that's the bridge that's the gap that we're going to have to bridge in the department. Is we're doing a lot of these things already. Maybe we talk about it a little bit differently, but it's not. Maybe there's opportunities to do practice meditation. But that's not what we're talking about on a day in, day out. So we've kind of have yet to take this to the department as a whole, but that's kind of the direction we're heading.
Jeff's and Maestro are talking about this in the way you were describing it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking it's a training, but most people don't really understand what's getting trained. And you're training the mind, but the mind has these different muscle groups, basically. So if you can start to understand what the muscle groups are that are actually getting, in a sense, you're kind of going to the gym for the mind, you're working out these particular muscle groups that then overflows. Having a sitting practice, meaning sitting in a chair or wherever you are, it eventually the baseline levels of these qualities flowed into your life, and they start to affect your performance hopefully for the better. But I thought we could do maybe actually let's just actually get practical and see if I can point out to you guys what these muscle groups are that we're actually building. So maybe do like a short 10-minute practice. I'll lead you through it, and I'll try to point out each one of these pieces that we're building up so you have a better sense of what it is that's getting trained. And then that'll probably lead into more of a conversation on how each of these work. Because a couple of the qualities, one of them in particular is kind of paradoxical. because we're basically building up concentration, which is just your ability to kind of commit your attention in a particular direction. It's about commitment and staying power. That's the one everyone knows. But you're also building up clarity, which is your ability to really untangle what's happening in your experience, so you can start to make better decisions and you're not motivated unconsciously by what's already there. And then there's a kind of friendliness that you're building up, which just makes the whole thing easier. But the real paradoxical one is equanimity, which is instead of white knuckling it through your experience, you're actually opening to the experience, and that's what allows you to reset. So you're in a situation where you're really stressed and you're worried about bringing that to the next call or bringing that home. If you understand how equanimity works, you're able to sit with that experience in a way that lets it reset. So you come back into the present. And it's key because people think, oh no, the way I have to deal with my stress, with my discomfort is to like stuff it down or just to be stronger. But actually, the more rigid you are with it, the more it actually just ends up still in your system. But if you can actually do this courageous thing of opening to it, then it allows it to kind of come through. You can reset and come back into the experience more fully. So that's a bunch of ideas. Why don't I try to show you what it actually feels like in a sitting practice for the next 10 minutes.
Is that cool? Sure. All right.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, it's a real privilege to be here, to hang out with you guys.
Yes.
I love this. You know.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, so sitting in a chair is just perfect. You can. The idea is that you want to have your back straight, and you can imagine as you're inhaling, you're kind of lifting up the spine a little bit. It helps keep you alert. It's not about being totally relaxed. It's about being alert and ready as well as relaxed at the same time. So you can have the eyes closed, or you can have them at half mast, just sort of looking in front of you.